guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Sorry for a little bit of the dim lighting today. I just moved all the way on the far side of the building so I could be closer to my stove that is behind me. And I have walls up on my left and the building and everything, and I'm going to enclose this. This will be a nice little, and the echo will go away because I'm going to put soundproofing on the walls. So I'm working on my studio. That should be done shortly. And my sound will get a little better. I know it's not bad, but I don't like any reverb. I'm not a big fan of that. The media is desperately trying to shame men who notice body count. And, of course, who's this written by? Helen Lewis, which is a woman. Why are women so angry that men care about body count and women don't? Why is it that when a woman says, well, is a man's body count as bad? And guys say, well, it's not a good thing, but it doesn't matter as much as women. And the women are furious. They want to act like men and have no repercussions. There's a problem, though. From Psychology Today, the long-term psychological effects of having multiple sex partners, less may be more. This is from 2013, before the world became woke. And there are multiple studies that show that women bond very quickly, and men take a long time to bond when they're with one single partner. What's that mean? That the longer a couple is together, the male's bond actually grows stronger, and the women's grow weaker. But the women's is very intense in the beginning, and it fades over time in many cases, where the men's grows stronger over time. I'm not going to do a study on this. I got 1,000 videos, probably 5 of which I have talked about this stuff. So there's psychology, there's chemical endorphin release, and it's different between the serotonin and the oxycontins, oxymorons. It's a joke. Anyway, the chemicals are all different in the way it works between men and women. So we're not going to talk about it. But what we are going to talk about is, yes, it does matter. From the Atlantic, nobody should care about a woman's body count. Popular internet personalities are peddling repressive, misogynistic ideas to their younger male fans. No, it's not just that. It's that men really do care about this. And you know what? Here's what's funny. Do you know the men that don't care about this? You know what happens to them? They marry a hooah and they get divorced. Or they find out that she's got a drinking problem. Or they find out that she likes to do illicit substances. Or they find out that the kid is not theirs. Or they find out that she went out and cheated on him. Or they find out that all of a sudden she wants an open relationship. Yes, this matters big time. Now, I love the fact that this is now a big deal when we've been talking about it, 5-6 News. Why do they care? Because bigger names are coming out and talking about it, and they don't like that. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to misbehave and do all the things, not realizing that something like 60 or 65% of all young women today are drinking excessively. They're taking anti-sadness medication. A large number, like 60%, I think, and that may not be all women, but I know it's left women. There's like the women that are into partying it up. They're not having a good day about it. But listen to the. You can hear the feminism in the writing of this. She says, ever since Elon Musk's lackeys, we're lackeys now, or the people that work at Twitter are now lackeys, began fiddling with the algorithms of X, formerly Twitter, I've noticed a distinct shift in the content that is pushed onto users. My For You tab is now a nest of trad wives, shoplifting videos, and that guy who has strong opinions on trouser creases. It's also home to the kind of old-fashioned misogyny that I once thought was on the decline. Do you know why you thought it was on the decline? Because conservative people and men's voices and men like Andrew Tate that talked about this stuff were removed. And instead, they pushed journalists and feminists like yourselves to the top of the ranking. And you were in a bubble. But now that bubble is burst, you can find out what a lot of men think. And she doesn't like it, obviously. She says, and that's because X, a small social network beloved by journalists, only journalists, is now providing a window into a much bigger part of the internet, one that is simultaneously absurdly popular and almost invisible to outsiders. It's the interlinking Venn diagram of Twitch streamers, mixed martial artists, wrestling and boxing fandoms, manosphere influencers, and video game commentators. Oh, you mean men, basically. So all of a sudden you're seeing content from men? Is that what you're saying? The way that these guys turn up on one another's podcasts, X feeds, and live streams, and their habit of physically fighting one another for money makes them seem like a younger, more ripped version of the intellectual dark web. Okay. Or it could be men doing masculine things, which probably freaks you out very much because they're not sipping a mimosa and crying over their feelings like your boyfriend is. One of the obsessions of the worst parts of this group, call them the influential jerk web. Oh, you're so snarky. Is body count discourse in which women, always women, are shamed for the number of partners they've had. No, that's not true. If I were to talk to a 28-year-old woman and she said she's had a couple of 3, and they were all long-term partners that she loved very much, and she thought that she was going to get married and have a long-lasting life with them, I think most dudes would be like, yeah, okay, I get that. I understand that. But when your name is Becky and you have a almost triple body count by the time you're 23, yes, surprisingly enough, men care. And why do we care? Because it goes, and I know you guys have heard this a million times, but it's so simple. What does a man have to offer a woman? Money, power, strength, protection, being a supporter, being the rock in her life. What does she offer? Her femininity and her body. And if her body's been passed around, I got news for you. Okay? If it's a gift given to one man, it's valuable. If it's a gift that's been passed around to everybody, we call it a door prize. And it's free. And it has no value. I'm so sorry that this upsets you, but this is the way the world works, unfortunately for you, Miss Feminist Bubble Rider. She says the phrase has gained popularity so quickly. No, it's been around for decades. Not decades. It's been around for a decade. She just doesn't know because she's in her bubble. So quickly that Jason Derulo has just released a song about it. Now, Derulo is okay with a high body count. All that ass must be good at math, he observes, but others are not. A lot of the world's problems could be fixed if women walked around with their body count on their foreheads. I would totally be okay with that. Because when a man goes on a date with a woman, does she go out with the guy that has the dating app that says Taco Bell employee? Or does she go out with a guy that says, I don't know, financial guru at insert Manhattan law firm or whatever, right? Why does she pick that guy? Cha-ching. She knows it's the money. She knows it's the money. I'm going to keep talking till she knows it's the money. Well, what is it for guys? What's the equivalent of a good income for men? A low body count. She just doesn't understand that. So women aren't picking Taco Bell dudes. They're picking guys with money. Why? Because that's important to them. The money, the fancy car, the good body, the good looking, the tall, what do men care about? Is she nice to me and is she not a hooah? That's what men care about. And even that's asking women too much, apparently. Now it's, well, she doesn't have to be nice to you, slay queen, and also she can have a body count in triple digits, and you should shut up about it. You can't shame us into being okay with this, Helen. It's not going to work. She continues on, the professional kickboxer turned sexist influencer, Andrew Tate, said in one viral clip, a bit rich, you might think, coming from a self-confessed former guy that used to put women on video cams. I agree with that, by the way. It is kind of rich coming from him. Tate is only one of the many influencers talk like ayatollahs while adhering to the beauty standards of Ryan Gosling and Barbie. These men provide Gen Z and younger millennials with a very old template for masculinity filtered through the new visual grammar and vocabulary of YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Take the mixed martial artist Dylan Dennis, who is scheduled to fight the YouTuber turned pro wrestler Logan Paul in a boxing match in Manchester, England on October 14th. In the past 5 years, influencer boxing has become a lucrative content machine. And that means, unfortunately, a torrent of sexually inflected misogyny. And why? It's because Dylan Dennis is calling Logan's girlfriend a hooah. Why? Because he keeps sharing pictures of her with all these various men that she's dated and more likely slept with. I did a video on it. It's not good, and everybody else is ragging on Logan for it, as they should. Scroll down Danis's X feed, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Over the past few weeks, he's relentlessly targeted Paul's fiancée, Nina Agdal, posting photographs of her with exes, digging out Instagram posts in which she's somewhat scantily dressed. She's a model. Yeah, but this wasn't when she was actually modeling. It's her being a hua at home, sending out photos to all her Instagram fans, claiming that he could put any prize money toward the HIV medication bills for Nina's exes, implying that she has dated everyone she has ever been photographed with and calling her a hua. But one person who apparently doesn't find the post funny is Agdal herself. Oh, what a shock. You mean the woman with a checkered past and a self-admitted body count close to triple digits says she doesn't like to be called out and shamed for having a triple-digit body count? What else is also bothering them is Danis is posting these photos, and it's getting tens of, 20s of, maybe dozens of thousands of replies going, oh, man, this dude is marrying a hua, and they don't like that. I didn't realize we were going to be going down into Danis on this one, and I've already done a video on this. They say misogyny occupies a sweet spot in our culture. You see, this is what I find interesting. Women can shame men that are under 6 feet tall. Women can shame poor men. Women can shame fat men. Women can shame bald men. Women can shame ugly men. Women can shame. Is it misandry? No, that's just a woman's opinion, you see. But the minute a guy says, you know what, I do not want a hua, then it's misogynistic. The minute men want a woman that is chaste and hasn't shared herself like a bag of popcorn amongst a group of women at a movie theater, they say, oh, it's misogyny. That's not how any of this works. We see your double standards, and we don't care. And we're going to continue to roast you because we can, because your words mean nothing. We've seen, what's the Rick and Morty? I've seen what makes you cheer. Your insults or your boos mean nothing to me. We don't care anymore. We don't care what you think about us. Why? Because you're feminists and horrible people and you hate us. So when we know you hate us and we don't care what you think, you no longer have power over us. And that freaks them out and that makes them very angry. And so now you're going to try to shame people for it. And the men are like, don't care. Moving on. They say misogyny occupies a sweet spot in our culture. It's frowned upon enough to make young men trading off it feel edgy, but it's typically taken less seriously than the other isms and phobes. Its post-also-me resurgence has led members of the influential jerk web coming out with phrases you might have thought died out with the 19th century laws on acceptable forms of wife harm. In 2021, the live streamer Sneeko notoriously confessed that he had watched his girlfriend sleep with another man at a party and told the peer-to-peer podcast, it felt like somebody was taking something from me, like someone was violating my property. He was at pains to note that wanting to watch another man sleep with his wife no way suggested that he was bi, which suggests a brittle borderline phobia that is also part of the deal. Really? That's who you're going to use as your standard of male? Is Sneeko who let his woman sleep with another dude? Okay. Two other things are worth noting about the body count discourse. The first is that some people on the edges of the influential jerk web have consciously rejected its exhausting sexual monitoring of women. That's right, we can't keep up with the madness, so they just stop counting. The left-wing streamer Destiny, for example, was raised Catholic, but is now in an open relationship. His partner, Melina Goranson, regularly mocks Dan. We really care what she thinks about men. I'm not even going to bother reading the rest of that because if she's in an open relationship with the dweeb Destiny, do we really care what she thinks about other men? Do we care what Destiny thinks about men? No, because he's a cuck and we don't care about what he thinks. You keep sharing your wife. We don't care. We don't care what you do, but we're certainly not going to listen to you for advice. The second thing is that in accordance with Rule 34 of the internet, What? Helen Lewis is a staff writer for The Atlantic. You know what this is, honestly? This is taking word salad and throwing it against the wall and trying to make an article. This is a hot mess. I'm going to post it because I think I still want to upload this to you guys, so I want you to see how they're just freaked out about this. But you know what they have no way to defend it. She didn't defend it at all. She didn't defend women's high body counts. She didn't defend why it was okay. She didn't defend why it's not a big deal. All she did is attack the men that care about it. And what did she say about them? They're misogynists. Okay, but you didn't argue the fact. She argued nothing. You know what this was? This was a feminist rant, calling everybody that she disagrees with bad words. That's all this was. That's all this was. So when these women come back around and call me bad names or other men for saying we like low body counts and women that are chaste, and we bring up science, and again, I've got videos on this, and I talk about the chemistry in the brain and how all this stuff works. I go over studies of it. I can defend why men care. She can't defend why men shouldn't care. As a matter of fact, I think she just proved my point, in that Logan is getting roasted alive by everybody for Nina's high body count. And they're laughing. They're like, dude, she gave herself away to free to 100 dudes in Hollywood, and now you're putting a $500,000 ring on it and going to wife her up and call her special in your own after she was a door prize? Who's the fool? Okay, please read this and then read some actual scientific journals about why it does actually matter and the chemistry that's changed in a woman's brain and how it messes them up and how it makes them more likely to cheat and or get pregnant by somebody else and or divorce and it proves us right. It proves us right, and you know what it does? It proves her bitter. And that's all it does. My mind has not changed at all, but thanks for trying, Helen Lewis. I wish this was it is a hyperlink. I wonder if it has a picture of Helen. Oh, there's our lovely Ellen. Can I open the image in a new tab? No, why is it not opening the women? Okay, well, here's Helen. Helen looks unhappy. Helen's wearing grandma print shirt. She doesn't look happy. And, it looks like she writes left-wing trash. Shocking, I tell you. Shocking. Well, it's good to see corporate media try to defend women's shameful actions. However, it changes nothing. Men still care about body count, and a woman with a high body count is not a prize. Well, she's not a gift. She is a door prize. I maintain my thoughts on the subject. Let me know what you guys think down below. I will leave it there, and we will see you in the next one.